All right, we'll call K-12 Subcommittee to order. Clerk, please open up the board for our attendance. Roll call. Members, please sign in and log in there. All right. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 7 members present. You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Members, any personal orders before we are set to begin? Oh, let Representative Hakeem get in here for a second. Representative Mayberry, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually have with me today Katie French. She is shadowing me for the day. She's a freshman at Austin Peay State University, and she is going to be an attorney. So if you members, we can welcome her today.
Welcome. Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 items, one sad and one not at all. But this morning we lost a giant of a man, a civil rights leader. Dare I say the last of the original people that marched with Dr. King. The Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson passed away early this morning. Fearless fighter, both from physical ailments to fighting for justice and just making America a great place. On the side note, folks ask me a lot all the time, how'd you go from physics to politics? But my freshman year at Fisk University, when he was running for president in 1984, spring of '84, I just heard him talking. I was just energized and getting involved. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask for a brief moment of silence to honor the life of Jesse Jackson.
Sure.
Thank you. And the second, you see I'm wearing a really nice purple blazer today. And you see several men walking around here. It's Omega Sci-Fi Day on the Hill. So I'd like to thank those brothers from coming across the state. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Any personal orders? All right. All right, let's jump into the calendar. A few items to take note of here. Item number 1, House Bill 1735 will be rolled 2 weeks. And item number 2, House Bill 1927 will also be rolled 2 weeks. That brings us to item number 3, House Bill 1740. It is also going to be rolled 2 weeks. We're rolling right along. Brings us to item number 4, House Bill 349 by Chairman Slater. Do I have a motion in a second? Properly motioned. Chairman Slater, you're recognized on House Bill 349. I do believe you have an amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That amendment is 013316.
All right.
And
members, that's what I have
rewrite
as well,
the bill.
And it does rewrite the bill. So members, without objection, will be. I need a motion in a second on the amendment. Properly motioned. Without objection, we will be voting to adopt Amendment 13316. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We are back on your bill as amended. You are recognized, Representative Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As amended, House Bill 349 expands school choice by allowing families to enroll their children in public schools outside their designated district without tuition barriers. It promotes transparency, a fair appeals process, and supports families seeking more educational options while maintaining LEA's autonomy. The bill also outlines an appeals process involving both the local review panel and the Department of Education. With that brief explanation, I stand ready for questions.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Representative McKenzie, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the sponsor, as I look at this bill, and help me with this, you said it keeps the local LEA's control and autonomy. I guess from the way I'm reading it, the local LEA will have to take students who aren't necessarily paying into their property tax system, which is a heavily funded part of the LEA's budget, doesn't necessarily pay in the sales tax portion of the budget, with a lot of that as well, depending on the area, goes to the local LEA. So it would allow someone who's not really paying into that system an opportunity to have their son or daughter go to school without any kind of costs. And actual LEA's funding area will bear the brunt of all those costs. Do I have that correct?
Chairman Slater?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when I speak about autonomy and flexibility for LEAs, the LEA, it only requires LEAs to report and post availability and application materials on their website, create a 90-day enrollment window, and provide a timely decision to families. Now, I think that I'll continue because I think that you had a question beyond just autonomy, and that has to do with funding. And the state dollars will follow the student from the school where they originate or the district where they originate to the district where they enter. There still, and Mr. Chairman and members, there still needs to be some language that clarifies what ends up happening as far as the local dollars are concerned. And you bring up the question that has always been asked when it comes to this. And so, members, what my intention is if this would pass out of subcommittee, to continue to work on the language and have some clear language as it relates to funding in full committee.
Representative McKenzie, follow up?
Thank you for that, and I definitely look forward to seeing that, because that's my concern, is that once that they can't say, if they say yes, that becomes a liability on that LEA in terms of how they're funding their overall school system. And I pick on one of the best school system. I think they're in the top 3, the Maryville City Schools. Great school system. Oak Ridge City Schools is, again, in the top 5. And these folks, they have people wanting to go into those schools, but they have to balance that with their ability to fund the schools. And I know the whole Memphis, Shelby County, those independent LEAs as well, they may get a surge of people applying to leave one LEA to go to another one, and just how that happens. So thank you for that, and I look forward to seeing how that funding, that local funding mechanism is going to be alleviated. So thank you.
Chairman Watt?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, my question, I had a bill like this several years ago, and I ran into a lot of moving parts, and I just want to kind of get clarity, because one thing I found out is everything that sounds good sometimes is not so simple. And so I want to get clarity on the fact, one of the things I ran into was, what protection is there for the district when they don't even know their own growth for the coming year? Many times we have a lot of growing districts, and they allow those to come in from other districts, but yet they said, we didn't even have the number on what we're going to have to expect moving into our community. What protection for the district is there on that?
Chairman Slater?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that question. So in the language of the bill, and if I can put my finger on it, I will point you directly to it. But in the language of the bill, as districts, receiving districts, put together their spaces available, that is taken into account. So in other words, and that's part of that autonomy as well. Often, for example, in one of the districts that I represent, a school was just recently built. It was built, of course, not for current capacity, but for future capacity. And so as part of the district determining how many seats are available, they can include that in their seats available analysis.
All right, Chairman Watt?
All right, so, and then you're working on still on the funding issue, as you just mentioned, and the TISA dollars fully follow the child the first year.
Chairman Slater?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, that's correct. The TISA dollars do follow the student. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Representative Reeves?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the sponsor bringing this forward, and I personally support expanding opportunity for families, and I think open enrollment is one way to do that. My questions are mostly about the funding mechanics, and I know we're working on that and making sure that formula aligns with the obligations placed on receiving districts. As I read the bill, the state TISA funds follow the student. Is that only for the first year right now?
Chairman Slater?
No, that's not my understanding. If that's not clear, then we'll make that clear. But it would be that it would follow the student as long as they're enrolled in the receiving district.
Okay, and I appreciate that. And the way those TISA dollars are funded, is it an average amount per student in the sending district, or is it are there additional dollars with IEPs and other things that follow that?
Chairman Slater?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it would follow the same way that the funding formula is right now. You start with the base, then there are weights. I don't think that the top level of the pyramid, as far as those incentive dollars, there's a small portion in TISA funding that is incentive dollars. I'm not sure that they would follow, but the base and any weights related specifically to your question when it comes to students with special needs, then those would follow, yes.
Representative Reeves?
Yeah, so thank you, and, Mr. Chair. And so I guess my concern is specifically with some of the special needs and IEP folks is whether the TISA weights would be sufficient to cover the cost that the district is expending. And, again, favorable to the concept, but looking forward to see how we work out some of those details.
Members, I might just mention this. I mean, we are early in the session. I don't, I'm at the will of the committee here and what the sponsor wants to do, but we are getting into the weeds a little bit on some funding questions and everything, and we don't have quite the language yet on what the next funding piece might be. And Chairman White a lot of times likes to see more of a final product before it gets into his committee. If we have an opportunity to maybe have that language and maybe also get the department on the list to be able to answer some of these detailed funding questions, it might be something for us to consider to look at here in a week or two. But I go to the sponsor on this. I would we can vote on it today if that's the will of the committee. But I did want to just put that out there for some consideration. Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do understand the need for answers to questions as relate to funding. And districts will be affected, I think, differently because funding, local dollars, are different from district to district. I certainly welcome input and because I do want to get this right. I think that it is good for the students of Tennessee, and I think it does open up opportunities. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd request that we roll this to next available calendar.
All right, 2 weeks. All right, so members, without objection, item number 4, House Bill 349, we will roll for 2 weeks. All right, that brings us to item number 5, excuse me, House Bill 778 by Representative McKenzie.
Motion. Second.
Properly motion. Representative McKenzie, you're recognized on House Bill 778.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have an amendment, Amendment 13425, 013.
All right.
425.
All right, members, do I have a motion on the amendment?
So moved. Second.
All right, properly motioned, and it does rewrite the bill. So without objection, we will be voting to adopt Amendment 013425. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. We are back on your bill as amended. You are recognized, Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill requires OREA, the Office of Research and Accountability, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Treasury to conduct a study and to make recommendations for the implementation of an incentive program for our educators with more than 15 years worth of experience. The OREA will report its findings to both the education committees in the House and the Senate by December 31st, 2026. Why this matters is most public schools in in our state use a salary scheduler or a step system where a teacher earns raises based on the years of service and their educational levels. And they often reach a point where that trajectory flattens out around year 15. And oftentimes, as we know, there's tight budgets in the state and the individual LEAs, as we all know. And so the more experienced and quality teachers become, more expensive. So what this study wants to do is to look into the salary structure and to see if there's recommendations that they have to improve the specific categories for the teachers. My Senate sponsor last year passed this bill without any opposition, and the only change that we made in that amendment to the Senate bill was updating the report to 2026. So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I thank you, and I ask you for a favorable vote on this House bill.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, and thank you for the legislation. I haven't talked to is OREA, I want to ask a question. You talked, are they the proper body to do this, or DOE or TASER?
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that question. So this was kind of vetted out and on the Senate conversations on last year, and they came up with there's several sponsors to this bill that OREA is the best person to do this type of study.
Okay, one more.
Thank you. Chairman White.
And you have talked directly to OREA?
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have not personally talked to OREA on this particular piece of legislation this year. We did talk about it last year, and my intent to bring it. So I have talked to them, but not this year, to be clear.
Thank you.
All right. And I believe it was, if anybody is really looking for something that you don't want to watch the Olympics tonight, I think it was April 15th, if you want to go back and watch those Senate hearings for some riveting discussion. But any other questions for the sponsor? All right. Seeing none, I think we are set to open up the board for a vote. Clerk, please open up the board. Members, please cast your votes. Does anybody wish to change their votes? All right. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
All right. The bill, House Bill 778 passes on to full education. All right. Members, I believe that brings us up to the end of the calendar. If anybody doesn't have anything else to say, without objection, we will stand adjourned.